Hello everyone, welcome. So while I prepare some more intriguing stuff for you, I'm going to give you a mixed bag of news items and my opinion on it. I guess when I'm not doing research and deep dives, that is what this is all about. It is my channel because I get to share my opinion, which is not always the most popular opinion. Right or wrong, whether you agree or not, we can't always agree on everything. So I think the biggest news item today is Lydia Thorp, an Australian senator screaming and performing in front of King Charles. Now forgive me, my friends, but I was born and raised in Africa, and although I had a very European English kind of upbringing, I have learned through my travels and various interactions just how seldom we as South Africans are taken seriously. And often across the world it is very much the same with the indigenous people. So Lydia Thorp shouting about tribal land and treaties are almost understandable to me. I understand letter after letter after letter, petition after petition after petition, meeting after meeting after meeting, all decent and very respectable. But after years and years, still nothing happens. The elite and the politicians and the wealthy try and silence us through platitudes and standard replies, and in the end waste our time and their own, although they don't care because they get paid anyway, even when they do nothing. For Sky News Australia to thus have a heading saying about another Australian that she is embarrassing herself and calling it her idiotic performance is actually for me very, very, let's call it disgraceful. Although, having said that, I have seen Lydia Thorp behaving even worse than that. So I have to agree that her behavior does seem a little erratic sometimes and a little over the top. But other than that, I am glad that she wasn't arrested. She did not hurt anyone and has the right to have her say, particularly knowing these issues had been talked to death in the past and still has not been fully resolved. Now, I'm not really following King Charles and Camilla's tour of Sydney, Canberra and Samoa, and for a good reason, which has nothing to do with Charles as a person. I mean, Charles could have been George or Peter, and he could have looked like Daniel Day-Lewis in his heyday when I had a fangirl crush on the man. No, it has everything to do with the fact that I think times have changed, life and politics have changed, and we all have a right to be represented by someone of our choice. And if we make a mistake and he does not do his or her job, then we can all vote him or her out, or not vote for him or her in the next election. To have a head of state forced on you for the duration of his lifetime, and because he was born into the position and not elected, is not something I personally believe in. In England, where they have this dual system of monarchy and parliament, it is great, beautiful, and historic. It draws tourists and it earns money for the country and many, many worthwhile charitable causes. But what does it do for Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the other Commonwealth realm countries? Very, very little. These countries do not have thousands of tourists visiting to witness a trooping the colour or a royal wedding or the carriage ride to the opening of Parliament. These countries do not have tourists paying good money to tour the palaces and castles, earning the state good money. So what do they have in the British King as their head of state? A man visiting and making pleasantries once in 6 years? Is that good enough? I know people are scared when witnessing other countries' presidents screw up. But there's a solution to that, people. Choose the right man or woman for the job. That is all it takes. I know many of you may not like my stance on this, but know that I really love England. I loved the Queen. I enjoy the monarchy and all its trimmings. But I love it all, attached and in England. I'm grateful that I could save up and visit. I'm grateful that I could witness some of it in my past. I still have my Queen and her corgis up on my bookshelf, my many books on the royal family, my flags, my framed postcards, my tea tins, my biscuit tins, and I still love it. The joy it brings will always be with me, but I do not agree with a foreigner being head of state of any other country. I do not care which country or who the foreigner is. It is not freedom of choice, nor does it represent freedom of association. And you know what? I think that while we are fighting with each other about this particular issue, both Charles and in particular William have long ago accepted that there will come a time when they will reign over Great Britain only. As a matter of fact, William has actually said as much in one of his speeches. As much as I am a fan of the monarchy as an institution, I'm also aware about my own history, how it came to be that a Scottish grant became a South African grant, now 3 or 4 generations ago. Until last year, I taught history, and I'm aware of the atrocities of the Boer War, the women and children who died in British concentration camps, 4,177 women, 22,074 children under 16, and 1,676 old men or men unfit to fight died in those British concentration camps. My maternal grandmother was a child in one of those camps. I know about the farms being burned to the ground and the cattle and the horses being stolen. I also know about the other wars they waged in my country against the Zulus and the Xhosas and other indigenous people. But I am a product of an Englishman and an Afrikaner, or then an Afrikaanse meisie. So I could not hate, because I had a bit of both. Africa was what I knew. The freedom of Africa is what I'm used to. But my culture is European, my religion is European, my entire style, taste and value system is European. Yet, you can never take Africa out of my blood either, and therefore I'm glad that South Africa became a republic in 1961, 2 years before I was born. being who I am, a rainbow person in a rainbow nation in a rainbow country, I cannot imagine bowing to a foreign king on African soil. However, I'm absolutely prepared to fly to England and, while on British soil, curtsy to your king, because he is your king, not mine. But I respect you, my dear friends, and I respect your customs. That is now my opinion. That is how I feel. My father, for instance, knew the Zulu king, and my father addressed him as Morena or Inkosi, and he addressed my father as Mr. Grant. Mutual respect when stepping on each other's land to buy cattle, and the same applies when I visit Britain. But it is beyond my comprehension how someone who does not live in your country and thus cannot fully comprehend the culture, the needs, the politics, the way of life, can be your head of state. But I mean, buy me a ticket to London and I will go drool over Buckingham Palace gates. Okay, guys, that is why I just look at the basic headlines of the King and Camilla in Australia, because I understand and I have empathy for both sides of the coin, and I understand the frustrations. So I would rather remain slightly ignorant than risk saying something I shouldn't say and make you all mad at me. Okay, guys, I will be back soon. So until then, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.